Hey there. Do you want to make manga animations like this? Watch this video till the end without skipping so you can finally become a manga animator.
Wow! Wow!
If you guys want to see more of such manga animation tutorials, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn the notifications on. So we'll jump right into the video without wasting time. Start by opening After Effects and create a composition. You can name it whatever you want. In the basic settings, keep the resolution to 1920 into 1080, which is the standard HD quality. You can change it if you want. I prefer frame rate 60 for smoother animations. And you can adjust the start time code and duration to your needs. It depends on how long your manga animation is going to be. You can change the background color to black since it'll be contrast to the white manga panels. Hit OK once you are comfortable with the settings. Once you created your composition, you are officially ready to start your animation.
My time has come.
Well, first let's import the manga panel. Right-click on the project panel, hover over to Import, click File, and choose the panel which you want to animate. Now what you have to do is drag the imported file into your timeline, and we are ready to start. Adjust your manga panel and fit it within your screen. To do this, click the imported image layer in the timeline and press S on the keyboard. Now you can scale the panel to your desire. Once you are satisfied with the scaling, you can proceed to the next step. This step is one of the most important steps in manga animation. This step involves analyzing the picture and spotting the potential body parts which you'll animate later on. For example, in this picture of Sayaka, she's a character from the anime Kakagurui, by the way. So in this picture, you can spot that we'll be animating her eyes, her eyelashes, her eyebrows, we'll be animating her hair, the huge ponytail at her back, and so on. Once you've analyzed the body parts, it's time to mask each of the body part. Before masking, duplicate the layer according to the number of body parts you've spotted. Since we'll be masking out each part separately, we need each layer for each part. To do this, click one of the layer and press Ctrl+D to duplicate the layer. Rename each layer so it'll be more easy to work with. Here are my layers. The amount of layers is your personal preference. If you'd like to animate only the eye, you may have only one single layer named eye. If you'd like to animate all the parts like me, you can create each layer for each part. Now it's time to start masking. We'll be using Pin tool to mask our parts. Head over to the top and you'll find this tool. After selecting it, choose the layer which you want to mask first. In my case, I'm going to start with the hair. I'd like to call this layer Hair 1. Well, now follow along how I mask this hair part. Masking is a simple process. All you have to do is crop the part just like how you do in Photoshop. Once you have masked the part, end it by joining with the start point to complete masking. Well, one of our hair layer is now masked successfully. Similarly, you have to mask out every layer and every part. The more layers you have, the more layers you have to mask. The more layers you mask, the more layers you have to animate. The more layers you have to animate, the more you'll suffer. I'm just kidding. Once you get used to this, this will be a piece of cake. Now I will fast forward to masking the next hair part. I hope you all would have understood how masking works. Now I will fast forward more to mask out all the hair parts one by one. People often make a mistake. If you mask out a part, you should select another layer before masking another part. Don't mask all the part in one single layer. Now let's mask the huge ponytail. As you can see in the picture, the ponytail is behind all her other parts, so while masking you have to assume that her body doesn't exist. In this way, you can mask out her ponytail. Well, you guys might ask, but her body gets masked along with the ponytail too. Yes, this is common. We'll handle this in the painting section of this video. Don't worry about this text bubble. We can easily paint this off after masking. We'll talk about this later in this video. We've successfully masked all her hair parts, which are ready to be animated. Now in this same way, we'll mask out her eyebrows, mouth, main body, and hand, which we'll be animating. We'll mask out eyes later. It's alright if you want to mask out the eye now, but I prefer masking and animating the eye at the very end. All of the layers are masked except the eyes and eyelashes. You can temporarily hide those layers if you are not going to work with them. Just click the eye icon and it'll be hidden. Let me show you guys why painting is required. If you see our masked picture, there are some overlapping of text bubbles and other manga panels. We can paint these off easily. Here's another reason why painting is needed. Let's say I'm going to move the hand, basically animating. So when the hand gets moved from its current place, you can find another hand in the back. This is because apart from the hand we've masked, her main body contains her hand too. So how do we solve this? Well, we'll paint off her hand from the main body. In this way, the hand will exist only in the hand layer and her main body will consist of only her body. If you guys cannot spot the overlapping and other faults in the picture, you can create a new solid layer and change its color to white. This step is completely optional. You can either have a solid layer as background or just continue if you can spot and find errors without it. As people say, the result is all that matters. Let's start by removing the text bubble from her long ponytail. To start painting, make sure you are at start of the timeline, then double-click the ponytail layer. Once you've done that, click this paint icon. You can change the brush's size and color from the paint column. You can choose whether you want a soft brush or a hard one. Soft brush gives you a soft touch. You can try out both. I personally prefer hard brush for manga painting. It depends on the picture. After choosing a brush type, you can change color in the paint column. You can use the color picker to pick the color. In my case, I want the black color so I can paint off the white text bubble. Now let's start painting out the unnecessary elements. Now the text bubble is gone from the hair. But if you guys see closely, there's a small masking error, which leaves a small white gap. You can easily fix this by adjusting the mask anytime you want. To fix this, select the pen tool and click the layer and you can adjust it. Let's paint the hand off of the body and fix the body now. We have another manga panel overlapping her body. We'll start by painting it off first. Similarly, double-click the body layer to start painting. There's an easier way to choose color. Just press Alt and left-click together on the color you want, and the color will be chosen. Now we'll paint off the hand from her body and redraw the main body. In the same way, behind this mouth layer, the face layer also consists of the mouth. So when you animate the mouth layer, another mouth will appear in the head layer. so we'll erase the mouth from the head layer using the brush tool. Along with the mouth, I'm painting off her eyes, lashes, and her eyebrows because we have separate layers for each of them. If you guys come across problems like this, reorder the layers properly. The ponytail is the layer which is behind every other part, so it has to be at the end. In the same way, the hand layer should be above body layer, the head layer should be above body layer, the hair and other parts will be above the head layer. It's really that simple. We'll do some more painting works to the ponytail. Do you guys remember when I said I'll mask eyes at the last? So I'm gonna mask out the eye and eyelashes now. If you guys had already masked it previously, it's well and good. We have the eye layer hidden. Now unhide the layer and start masking. After you mask one eye, you might not be able to see the next eye. It's because there's no other layer which consists the right eye. So to mask out the other eye, head over to the eye layer and press M. Now open the drop down and choose Subtract. What Subtract does is, it'll display everything apart from the masked region. Now you can continue masking the next eye and change back the Subtract to Add. We're almost done with the painting part. One last part left is painting the head. When you animate your hair, you'll find another hair in the head layer as I told previously for the mouth and hand layer. So we'll paint off the hair from the head. We can paint the hair off the head during animation phase as well. I call it the dynamic painting. When you animate, you'll come across finding another hair in the head layer. At such times, you can always go double-click the head layer and paint off. If you guys made it till here, congratulations, you are one of the 5% who dedicated their 15 minutes to learn something useful. Here's a cookie, subscribe so I can cook more tutorials for you guys. Without wasting time, we'll start the animation process. To animate a manga panel, we'll use one of the most powerful tools called the puppet pin tool. It's really easy to use. All you have to do is set up so-called pins in a part, and you can move those pinned areas freely. I'm gonna start with the hair first. I'm setting up pins this way so I can move the hair freely. After you've fixed your pins, hover over to 1 to 2 seconds apart and make your movement. This will create the keyframes by itself. Note this, while setting pins, ensure that you are at the start of the timeline. If you've messed up this part, you can simply undo the pins by using Ctrl+C. Now comes my dynamic painting theory. While animating, you can notice another hair which is on the head layer. We'll paint them off. If you don't want to do dynamic painting, you can paint all the hair off the head, but I prefer erasing only the unnecessary parts. There's a common mistake animators make. So right here, the hair in the back gets painted off only after 1 second. Why is that? The reason is because I wasn't on the start of the timeline during painting. This results in the painting starting only after 1 second because I was 1 second apart in the timeline. This can be easily fixed. Go over to the painted layer and click this arrow mark, open the effects and open the paint. Now you can drag the paint which is initiated after 1 second to the start of the timeline. It's as simple as that. This is the result so far. If you face a problem implementing till this part, feel free to post your doubts in the comments section. I'll reply to every single comment. To turn this animation more soft and smooth, click the layer which we animated and press U on the keyboard. This will open up our keyframes. Select all the keyframes and right-click Keyframe Assistant and click Ease In, or you can directly use the keyboard shortcut F9. We'll now animate the next hair part using Puppet Pin tool. You can easily animate every single part this way. Just like how we did for the first hair, drag your timeline to 1 or 2 seconds according to how fast or slow you want your animation to be, then move the pins. Again, to make these movements smoother, select all the keyframes and press F9. To make the animation to and fro like a loop, copy the initial keyframes by using Ctrl+C and paste it at the end using Ctrl+V. This is how our animation is so far. In the same way, I'm going to animate the next hair. I'm speeding up this part. I will describe what I'm doing in this phase. I'm painting off the head because this same hair is being seen on the head layer once I paint them off. I'm using Puppet Pin tool to add pins, then I proceed to animate as usual. I'll be doing the same for the mouth animation. Here I'll show you guys another cool technique. So have you guys seen manga fight animations like this? If you guys see these movements, the motion is quick as it starts, then it gets slower. To perform this, we use the graph editor. Here's how to do it. So in our manga animation, we are going to do the same speed warp animation to her mouth. After you complete the basic animation, select all the keyframes and click Graph Editor. In this graph editor, follow my graph. I'll explain more about how graph works in another video. The video would become more longer if I have to explain that. So hit the subscribe button and turn the notifications on. Well, let's continue now. After selecting the keyframes and entering the graph editor, follow my exact steps. And that's it. This graph shape will give you the head start motion. It'll start faster and gradually slow down. Now comes your favorite part, animating the eyebrows and eyes. It's exactly similar to how we animated the hair. Follow the steps I'm doing. If you guys come across a problem while following me, feel free to comment down the issue below, and I'll respond as quick as possible. Let's animate her hand now. For this one, we won't need a puppet pin tool. All I'm going to do is move her hand up. We'll be using position for this. Click the hand layer and press P on the keyboard. This will open the position. In the start of the timeline, create a keyframe by clicking this and drag her hand down. Then after 1 second or 2 seconds, move her hand up. Then follow the exact same steps we did to make the animation smoother. I'm going to animate the ponytail next, which is the last hair left. Use puppet pin tool and follow the steps. I'm doing the same which we've been doing for the other hair parts. Eye animation is the final touch to literally every animation. Eye animation is pretty simple. Let me show you guys how to properly do eye animation. Select your masked eye layer and press M to open mask settings. Create a keyframe in mask path. Now go to the time interval where you want the character to close or open their eyes and follow my steps. If you guys get this problem where the entire selection is getting dragged down, don't select the mask path. Click only the layer and you should be able to change the points without this problem. Now we can animate the eyelashes using our good old puppet pin tool. Follow my steps. And that's it, folks. If you guys made it here, congratulations. You guys are the top 1% who managed to learn manga animation. If you guys couldn't follow or have any issues midway, feel free to drop a comment below mentioning the timestamp of this video, and I'll be happy to help you guys. If you guys want this After Effects project file, make sure to check the description in the pinned comment, and I'll share a link to this project file for absolutely free. Hit the subscribe button if you guys want to see more of such tutorials in the future. This is Roni, signing off.